What's the good word, y'all? It's your boy DKB here. So let's talk about the state of the offensive side of our ball real quick. Obviously, that's going to be the huge focus, but I find it interesting. Robert Sala's press conference today, he updated us that Quentin Williams for the remainder of the season will be getting that third captain spot for the New York Jets team. Now, nothing against it. Absolutely a great selection. I seen a tweet that said he finished fourth in voting on the team. Cool. I'm good with 100% of that, but I think that definitely reflects where we are as an offense in the NFL. That we couldn't find a way to get a single offensive captain. Once Aaron Rodgers ended up suffering his injury, it's pretty problematic for me. One, because we actually do have, some candidates, and I don't think you necessarily need to think outside of the box for them, right? If you want to take a look at the quarterback room, obviously I wouldn't recommend anything there. In the running back room, I would say you still have some concerns, right? Brees Hall, you've seen some frustrations out of him when it's come to his carries. You just seen the Michael Carter blow up. Michael Carter, in and of himself, probably would have been the guy, right? It's only less than a year ago. We heard Robert Saleh mentioning that, Michael Carter is the glue for the entire team, not just within his running back room, but when you need that positivity, when you need to galvanize this New York Jets team, Michael Carter was one of those guys that stepped up and did it. And, he's been doing this since his rookie season. He does have some pretty radical thoughts out there, though. We've heard him, talk about the running back market. It's going to be a huge point for any running back coming into the NFL. But his thoughts about how running backs go, how he thinks the contracts are being dealt, the security that comes with the position, et cetera, et cetera. And then the recent blow up doesn't help. Fullback, I don't think I've ever heard of a fullback for the New York Jets, let alone any other team, getting a captain spot. The wide receiver room, undoubtedly, you'd have to look to a guy like Garrett Wilson. He's the undisputed number one receiver on this team. He's extremely passionate as well. We've seen the blow ups, much like Michael Carter with Garrett Wilson, but he's a guy that wants to lead by example, right? And so you'd imagine if you have even average quarterback play, you're looking at a guy that far and away is blowing out the rest of the wide receiver room. The only other option I would say probably makes sense is the veteran Randall Cobb. He's seen it all, done it all, had the close relationship to Aaron Rodgers. He knows what excellent quarterback play looks like. He would know how to coach up these younger guys, get things in order when it comes to the work ethic, the practice habits, all of that good stuff. So two potential candidates right there that didn't get selected. In the tight end room, you can kind of throw it up there, right? Tyler Conklin's another interesting guy, kind of more of a quieter, lead by example type of guy. CJ Uzama, we talked about him. He's not high on production, but he is one of those good locker room guys. So he'd be a feel-good story, but don't think it's necessarily deserving of a captain spot. And then Jeremy Rucker's the unproven guy that seems like he's ready to break out. I don't know. He's getting that Denzel Mims treatment where he just can't, they don't want to put him out there on the field for whatever reason. And then when it comes to the offensive line, I would look specifically to Elijah Vera-Tucker. When you think about the offensive line, outside of Mekhi Becton and his immense potential and what we think he should be able to accomplish, the first name that you think of is Elijah Vera-Tucker. And I would give it to him immediately with, him being the X factor on that offensive line. He's allowed us to do a number of things when it's come to injuries. We've never heard him complain. We've seen him perform at an elite level, still switching between four positions. I believe he still hasn't allowed a sack, playing left tackle, playing left guard, playing right tackle. And so that's phenomenal. I think he's still one of the least one of the offensive line members giving up the least amount of pressures while switching between multiple positions as well. So it's crazy to me to think that, Garrett, Randall Cobb, AVT, none of these guys they felt was worthy, or at least over a guy like Quentin Williams, which again is all fine and dandy, but I think it speaks volumes to the faith, the trust that Robert Saleh has on that side. If the decision is purely up to him anyways, if it's a combination of factors where it is, the entire coaching staff, the front office, whatever it is, still, it's a wild situation to me to see that they didn't think Aaron Rodgers' replacement as a captain is on that side of the ball. I want to say that we've come far, right? Weapons are mass improved. Um, and all of that good stuff, as I've mentioned for a while. But still, the offense is trolling behind when, I don't think it necessarily should be. The defense has led the way for us for the majority of my time as a Jets fan. But this feels like a unit that should be able to break out. So it's not going to change. It was just something that was interesting to me that crossed my mind. Robert Saleh specifically also addressed. They asked him something along the lines of, did you give consideration to anybody on the offense? And then he pretty much was just like, no, not really whatsoever. So I don't know if he's not really in tune with what's going on that side of the ball. Maybe we're losing a bit of that CEO aspect. Maybe I don't want to say he's quitting, but I've said it before. I'm starting to see signs of that decline as a defensive coordinator turned head coach, where you're realizing things are going off the rails. The offensive side of the ball isn't your specialty, and so you start defaulting to elite defense, strong run game, and you don't have you don't have really a hanger rack to sit your hat on at this point with this offense. Things are inconsistent at best on that side of the ball. Still feels like there's a lot of misproduction out there behind the arm of Zach Wilson. But yeah, either way, I don't want to ramble too much. I just thought it was really interesting. Let me know what you guys think. Should we have had an offensive captain? Maybe that would have found a way to give us a little bit of a boost as much as possible, especially considering we're heading into this huge Chiefs game for us. Another home game. There's all the drama about Travis Kelce and, Taylor Swift swirling around, all of the expectations that we have let's try to make this a shootout as best as possible. And then, of course, you have the kind of elephant in the room that's not really being addressed, or at least it's being swept under the rug, that you could see an on-field mutiny of sorts if we get the same play and same level of efficiency from Zach Wilson that we've seen in these first 3 games, or at least more specifically the last 2, since those resulted in losses. I think you could see some things that we haven't seen before in terms of like a Randy Moss type walkout moment, maybe fights on our side of the line of scrimmage, let alone on the where the coaches and everybody will be at. So it'll be interesting to watch. We'll see what ultimately happens there. But again, let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you again. Peace.